and McDonald's on 1019, 100.5, 1450, WGNSSports.com, and BigGTV.
The Coaches Show is brought to you by Craig's Tax Service, specializing in personal and business tax preparation, financials, and bookkeeping services. Find out more at CraigsTaxService.com. And we welcome in Stewarts Creek head coach Ben Caudill this morning. How you doing this morning, Coach?
Good, Coach. Good to be with you.
And you had a big 49-18 win over Stratford. I believe y'all played Thursday night this week, and off to a 2-0 start this season, and got things rolling over there for the Redhawks.
Yeah, Ben, obviously, a sprint to the season whenever you play 2 games in 6 days. And last week we dealt with the heat, and this week we, kind of dealt with, everything that was pushed in a little bit. And I think any coach would tell you when you play an away JV game on a Monday, when you got a varsity game on a Thursday, it's going to be a challenge, but every week's a different challenge, and our guys were able to respond to that. And, we talk a lot about responding and not reacting to things. And I thought our coaches did a great job of making sure our guys were ready to roll.
And, you obviously region plays coming up this week, but, some of your key players is where, let's just go ahead and talk about Jamarcus Brown. I mean, a touchdown machine so far for you.
Yeah, Jamarcus is, he made the most of his opportunities, I thought, against Stratford. He only had 11 carries, but certainly made every single one of them count. And, Jamarcus has worked really hard. I think he learned from some really talented guys last year. Both of them are, toting the ball in college this year. And, he's been patient. And I think he would, be the first one to tell you he was a lot more complete than he was week one. He did not have a good week blocking in week one, and that's something that, we challenged him with. I thought he did a much better job, on Thursday night. But I got to tell you, there were a lot of guys that, did some damage for us. I think we had 4 different ball carriers, across the goal line. Jerry Taylor, he scored one. He pulled down on the perimeter, and he also fumbled one into the end zone, which I know he's upset with, and that cost us, the opportunity to score there. Sam Bello scored one there as well, and then Jade McKnight had a big night for us, scoring as well. And so, really proud of, all those guys. And I think anytime that, you're able to, spread it around and hopefully not have an opposing defense, just circle one guy that they got to stop, I think that's a big deal.
And you mentioned him, Jerry Taylor, talking about your quarterback, where do you feel like he is right now, and especially from week 1 to week 2?
Yeah, Jerry's, he's grown a lot, I think, and, he's seeing the field really well and seeing, opportunities that are there for our offense, and getting us in the right opportunity. That's something we, ask him to do as a quarterback, as a leader, and I'm his coach, and so I'm, I think as hard on him as anybody, and certainly, encourage and love him as much, equally, when those moments arise. But at the end of the day, I feel like he's an extension of me on the field, of my character, and, the brand of ball that I want to play has got to be reflected in, the guy that touches the ball every snap. And, Jerry's really maturing into a senior leader, not just of our offense, but of our entire team.
Yeah, and obviously offensively you got a lot of weapons, and you mentioned all your running backs and your quarterback, and but keeping Stratford to 18 points, I feel like your defense made a big stride from week 1 to week 2 also.
Yeah, we did. I think Coach Waite would say that we left a few opportunities, there on the field there, especially late in the second quarter. We had a very well-timed pressure that their quarterback, who's a great player, barely made us miss, and then, we kind of got lost in coverage, and they got one there, and we jumped off sides once, and had, I think, 2 defensive pass interferences, which was frustrating, and I think we had a chance to kind of close that game out a lot sooner than we did, but I'm proud of Daniel Johnson had a big pick there in the third quarter. I thought that was very timely. Senior leader there for us at outside linebacker. And I think we got some guys that are really kind of growing up a little bit, which is really good. And as we enter region play, that's what we're going to need.
Yeah, and talking about region play, and started up this week. You have Siegel coming to y'all's place, and one thing that I've noticed over the last few years. I know you've been developing this since you've been there, but the culture you've established. I feel like your guys now believe you're going to win every time you go out there.
Well, I tell you, I think it's a lot more about just what happens on Friday night and winning on Friday night. I think I think at the end of the day, you want as a leader. And David Martin told me this. I didn't get to coach with him at Stewarts Creek, but he told me, sent me one time that, your team is going to take on your personal character as the head coach, and what's that going to be? Is it going to be emotional? Is it going to be one that, lives for the lights, so to speak, or is it going to be one that, wants to execute on a daily basis? Is it going to be one that's disciplined? Is it going to be one that, stays composed in big moments? And, I think this team is learned from a really good bunch last year. Last year we were very unselfish, and when they were challenged, they responded immediately. And this team right now, is still getting to that point where when they're challenged, they accept it. They respond to it. They crave coaching. How can I improve? Caleb Floyd, scored more touchdowns last year than any player in all of 6A football. And, he comes to me, Coach, how can I improve? And that's the mindset that we're slowly getting to with this group. And when you come off, a season like last year and we got to replace the guys from last year, sometimes teenagers, I think, well, we can just make it happen again. And that's not the case. And so there is a whole lot left for this team. And we have not even come close to playing a complete game yet. And, those are the things as our leader that I need to make sure we stay focused on. And
then that's got to be exciting being 2-0 right now and not having to have a complete game so far.
Yeah, I think Centennial, they scored, 48 points last night. And they're clearly a really good team, and a bunch of the teams they're playing have already reached out to me, and they're not playing them for several weeks. And so, I think us getting that one and was a big deal. They had a quarterback that played in the playoffs for Page High School, and all of a sudden he's at Centennial now. And so and then Stratford, their head coach's son, is on their team. So I think anytime you're coaching against somebody whose son's on that team, he's going to be more invested than he's ever been in that season. And so Coach Law certainly has that this year with coaching his son. And so but I told our guys, we'd trade the previous two for one Friday night. This is a new season that starts fresh. And we hadn't played Siegel since 2022. We played them after fall break, those 2 years in 21 and 22. And so certainly catching them a little bit earlier this year. It's region play. And so anything you do leading up to that point is really just meant to, in my mind, prepare you for what's to come when the region slate begins.
Yeah, and it does. It starts Friday night. Region play starts, and what are you looking for this week from your guys as you get ready to start that region gauntlet in this county and playing against a good Siegel team?
Yeah, I think the temptation is always, your opponent. But to me, we've got to improve. We've got to become a better football team this week. We've got to be more disciplined, in several phases. I think there's penalties that are really frustrating as a coach to see. And at the end of the day, it's what I allow to happen. I'm our leader, and that's my product on the field in all three phases. And so, we've got to clean a lot of things up. We're playing a really good Siegel team that's, gone on the road the last 2 weeks and played a very good Cookeville team and a very good Lebanon team. And so they're used to being on the road, and, we're going to need to put these last 2 weeks behind us and put a great product on the field Friday night. Very excited to host a very quality, well-coached team. Coach Renshaw came into Siegel the same year that, I took over our program at Stewarts Creek. And so we've, kind of raised our programs up together, simultaneously. And so it's going to be a great night. Very excited, for our program. And it's going to be a barometer for us to see exactly where we are as a program. And anytime you bring somebody from across the county, that's different than playing somebody where, you really don't know
Yeah, it
everybody.
is. It is. It means something, and
yep.
it does. Every time you lace it up.
Yep. And if I could real quick, Andrew Robinson suffered an injury there with 1 minute left on, Thursday night, and it was a very scary moment for our entire, community, and quite honestly for those on Stratford sideline as well. That's where it happened, right on their sideline. And I've been messaging with Andrew this morning. His mom was so impressively tough and had such a calm resolve to her in such a difficult moment, and something that was very, very hard to see. And our principal led a great prayer there, that was very touching and very timely, and just but God is good. And Andrew, his message this morning was really the shot in my arm that I needed this weekend, and it's going to be something I know that is going to be transformed into a positive for our team as we move forward.
Yeah, our thoughts and prayers are with him as well, and we appreciate it, Coach, and good luck next week. This Stewarts Creek head coach Ben Caudill, appreciate it, Coach. The Coach's Show is brought to you by Sir Pizza, whose 3 Murfreesboro locations offer a huge selection of mouth-watering pizzas, sandwiches, pastas, and wings. Order your favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com.